Hello, it's cram school once again. I know this time it came a bit late, but you gotta wait, man. Good things come, well, good things take a while to come, something like that. So, Garou's coming out. I know a lot of F2P players are probably upset or just wanna, quit the game. But look on the bright side, if Garou is coming out now, that means that in exactly 3 months he's coming back again. And the next 3 months will probably be useless units like Metal Bat, all the units that people don't usually play that long. So, this is the time for you to save up your black tickets. You can easily skip things like Metal Knight, Rerun, you can skip Metal Bat when he comes. Save up your black tickets, and maybe in another 3 months' time, you have a very competitive team. So, Garou, why have I been waiting for this hero for so long? Simply put, Garou is one of the... Well, he is the only unit in the game that consistently procs internal injury, which is very powerful if you know that in the Zombieman Core, he actually has a special little thing called ultimate damage buff when you deal internal injury. So because of that alone, Garou and Zombieman are a very great pair. They just deal more damage, they just do so much more when put together. And quite honestly, another reason why Garou is so strong is just cause he's strong in the manga and in the anime, right? And yeah, it's... how do I put it? They made him strong because they know people like him as a character. There's no other way around it. You don't you can't lie that he's just going to be much stronger than other units compared to, when... Let me just show you something. I think I can pull it out. Look at this. Okay. This is the core, and you can see here, after applying internal injury, ultimate damage plus 20% permanently. So in case you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can see it over here under the cores. Okay, so that is very important. And the second thing is that the basic core itself adds internal injury, triggers off internal injury for the 2 energy. And Garou has one thing about it that makes it extremely strong. So if you look at his passive, Garou has a... okay, so the order here is normal attacks at the top, ultimate is in the middle, and passive is at the bottom. So if you look at his passive, Garou has a 40% chance to follow up for 80% basic attack damage up to 3 times per round. Now, oh, I just realized I forgot to put in that this follow-up actually grants internal injury as well. But anyway, Garou's follow-up actually causes internal injury, and that is very, very, very strong. Imagine every single target you're hitting, the proc of the follow-up creates internal injury. Like, it's the fastest way to get your 2 energy, because the opponent just has to go first. If they're using a monster, then good luck to them. But if they use like a normal unit, they actually proc the follow-up at a 40% chance. And if the 40% chance procs, you actually cause follow-up to happen on the unit. And that gives you 2 energy straight away. And why this is so interesting is that when you're playing King, you need the opponent to go first, because you want to get as much energy as you can. If you are getting a ton of energy, you actually do more damage. That's just how King works. So for my lineup in particular, this effect is very, very important. Now, let me try and update it before everyone gets confused, because the skill itself, the reason why it's so strong is not just follow-up, but follow-up with IJ. And it's a huge difference. Like, it's not just normal follow-up, it's follow-up that deals internal injury damage. But let's take a look at this normal skill. Yeah, attack target once, dealing 120% damage with a 100% chance to inflict internal injury. So even his normal attack inflicts internal injury, every single thing that Garou does here inflicts internal injury, and that's insane. Think about it. If the opponent is consistently taking 100% damage, 100% damage, 100% damage, it just hits so hard. You know what I mean? Alright, give me a moment while I update this. Dealing 100% follow. Inflicts internal injury 100% of Garou's attack up to 3 times per round. 100% chance instead if the action is by a hero. Oh, I can't even squeeze it in. That's how OP Garou is. We have a saying in the community that if your hero has a ton of writing, that means that you can't even understand his skills, or he has too much, his skills are just so much writing on the skills. That's when you know the hero is OP. And I think it applies very strongly to Garou and Zombieman. You know, everything they do is OP. Up to 3 times per round, 100% chance instead if the action is by a hero. Garou has 30% max HP unyielding. Alright, let me just quickly save this and update it before everyone gets confused. I don't want people to, you know, miss out that he has IJ on the passive. That's part of what makes him so strong. There we go. Saved, and it should update on the screen. Alright, so now that we have updated it, now, as I said earlier on, everything he does inflicts internal injury. He's just OP for that reason. Okay? But take a look at his ultimate. Attack all targets 5 times. Okay, just like a Atomic Samurai skill, dealing 100% damage. But more importantly, there's a 100% chance to inflict internal injury on 3 random targets for 130% of Garou's attack. So what this means is that he procs internal injury on 3 units, and combined together with his follow-up, that means that you are inflicting internal injury every other attack. You have like up to 6 chances to inflict it, because the follow-up can proc 3 times. If you have a 5-star Garou, then the number of times that you can follow up per round increases to 4 times, okay, with a 90% basic attack damage instead. So Garou is just the ultimate way to deal AoE damage, and also he has unyielding. And think about it, they just decided, okay, never mind, Garou has never died in the anime and manga. Let's shove 30% max HP unyielding on him for no reason whatsoever, other than, you know, he's OP. So, yep, that pretty much covers his skills. I don't think it needs much explanation. You just need a way to proc Zombieman's internal injury, and Garou is the best way to do it. He is the ultimate unit as far as internal injury is concerned. Now, there's a thing about this character that no one knows, which is that Garou actually functions as a hero unit, because his typing or his category is martial artist. Just like how heroes, monsters and outlaws exist, the 4th category is actually martial artist. So martial artists are actually the outlaw equivalent for the hero side, and he's used in hero activities, not monster activities. So for example, hero tournament is actually using Garou rather than the monster side, and that means that he's not as OP because you can't like destroy all the monsters in one single hit or something. I mean he's very OP because he can destroy all the heroes with 100% follow up, and a lot of the units in the game right now, they are all heroes. So his follow up is basically 100% proc rate at this point. No one actually plays monster units, right? Now, I want to show you all my lineup for this patch, because a lot of people are probably curious why I'm going to stop buying heroes after Garou. That's just because I have basically completed my lineup. I don't think there's a... You can improve this further. Every single LSSR after this is OP, but at the same time, you have to realize that if you are going to play this game as a for the long term, you have to spend a lot of money. But you can actually stop once you've gathered like 6 units you know you're going to keep using. And this is my personal lineup. This is the lineup that I will be using for PvP. It has, together with the default units you can draw, it covers pretty much all situations. For example, Boros here, he can actually cover the single target damage. So I've pretty much got all activities in the game covered one way or another. It's just whether the lineup is strong enough and whether the other whales can beat me. So of course every single whale is drawing Garou, there's no question about it. No chance of winning them if their Garou is stronger than mine, but at the same time this lineup I think is optimized to deal a lot of damage. So at the top left you can see that I've placed Garou here, but actually Garou can also be in the front line. I've seen him used in the front line to great effect. I put my king behind the Zombieman and I put Boros at the bottom left. So you can swap out Silver Fang in the front for Garou or Boros depending on what are your goals, because the problem with Silver Fang is that if he dies he doesn't get his buff off for everyone. If your Silver Fang is like 3 stars or below, he doesn't tank enough. He just dies, and then you probably by turn 2 you'll find that okay, my Silver Fang is dead and I'm not getting my tenacity. So if you put Silver Fang in the back line, it might be better overall. And also the other issue is that this lineup doesn't have a consistent tenacity after round 3. So this is actually what I believe is a sort of like an OTK lineup, in that my king is dealing as much damage as possible in the first 2 turns, and then after that I pray that the fight is reduced to just 2 or 3 units. So let's take a look at how it works. For the first speed, the highest speed, I have my king. So what my king does is that since the opponent moves first, let's say that they are using mostly hero units like I expect, Garou is going to follow up and smack one of their heroes that just moved. And the 100% chance to proc the follow up means that I proc internal injury on them. So when they are internally injured, as you might know, that means that I get +2 energy, because +2 energy comes from the Zombieman Core. And then because they just attacked me, my Zombieman, my tenacity also procs from Silver Fang, which gives me another +2 energy. So that gives a total of 7 energy, which is the 1 energy more than the maximum amount required to deal a lot of damage as king. And that damage is like almost 6 to 7 mil if your king is geared properly. So this lineup basically requires the opponent to go first. But what happens if the opponent doesn't go first? Well, then you get king to seal them, and they now have only 1 energy. And if they are playing like a non-meta, I don't know what the fuck they'll be playing, but whatever they're using in the first turn, let's say if it's tank top, the tank top is going to move with normal attack and get wrecked. If they are starting with Garou, which is a common lineup, using Garou to start, the Garou will just normal attack and it falls flat as well. So this strategy is very powerful, because if your king moves first, they usually lose either their tank top's ultimate or their Garou's ultimate. What happens if they go, and if they are on a king, if they are playing king themselves, their king will just shatter, which is very stupid. So this lineup actually counters a lot of the typical meta strategies revolving around speed. And as long as the opponent moves first with a hero unit, like almost all current first turn movers are hero units. So the enemy is going to get internally injured and you're going to start with 7 energy, which is damn sick, super strong. Now, the other thing to note about this lineup is that what happens if my Garou does not proc internal injury for various reasons. Maybe there's resistance on the opponent, or maybe for some reason it's a monster unit that moved and I don't do the follow-up 40%. Then my backup plan here is basically that I have Boros on speed 3. It's either my king or Garou gets to move, the opponent king seals my energy, and then my Boros gets to move. So that is the plan. I have a speed 3 Boros that is basically the backup ultimate to kill off one of their units and at least make the next round, for example, a 4b5 or 5b, 4b5 or 4b6. At the front line of this lineup, I have the typical Zombieman middle. Zombieman should always be placed in the middle because he needs to soak up damage from every single lane. So for example, if the top right or the bottom right dies, the Zombieman can actually tank the hits. Okay, and I have Carnage. Carnage is like a win condition for some of these lineups because when everyone is dead, Carnage is usually the only one alive. So I have him at speed 5 because Zombieman and Carnage are going to be the only ones alive, and Zombieman is going to keep giving energy to Carnage using his normal attack if there's not enough energy on the table. Whereas if there's enough energy, the Zombieman can also use ultimate to heal. Typically, you end up in a game fight where CK and Zombieman are the only ones left alive, depending on the way you are playing and how your server rolls their lineups. So this is my personal lineup, and I hope you guys understand the logic behind it. So really not much to say because this is just an extension of the Zombieman updates that have been coming so far. But let's go back to Garou for a moment. There are a lot of questions involving whether you should roll Garou, Goketsu, SSR Mosquito, SSR Genos. I haven't heard anyone mention Phoenix Man yet. Maybe just cause Phoenix Man is not that good compared to the rest, or at least not as broken. But you must understand that the fact that Garou has come so early means that he's OP, because he is one of the strongest units that are going to come next. And having him for like a 4 to 7 months period while you're waiting for the new heroes to drop, there's still Flashy Flash, Metal Bat, Phoenix Man, Giro, SSR Mosquito Girl, SSR Genos, and all these units are going to have to come first in a batch. So if Garou comes so early and you draw him, you can excel for 3 to 4 months straight. This is literally the ideal situation for a budget whale. So if you want to spend your BT, this is the time. You spend it on Zombieman and Garou and you'll never lose again. That's the logic anyway. Now, along with this Garou patch is coming buff gears. So in Chinese it used to be called 支付卡. We used to call them like gear chips, but I guess they're using some shitty name called buff gears. Now I just want to do a quick explanation of what buff gears are. So let me just quickly load the image I prepared. I keep forgetting to load these images. So what are buff gears? Effectively, they are a new type of gear that comes from well, they'll just drop after the patch today. And one thing about buff gears is that they require as much SACs as normal gear. The easiest way to explain them would be that they take there are like 3 additional gear slots on top of your existing 4. So there are 3 slots for every single hero. You have your faction gear, your type gear, and your level gear. So faction refers to, for example, hero, martial artist, outlaw, monster. Your faction. And the hero can only use their faction's buff card. Possible roles on the faction gear are speed, HP, and attack percentages. And then there's the type gear. Type gear is your typing. So for example, if you're an Esper, Duelist, or Grappler. Now the roles on this are the more rare roles like crit rate, block rate, hit percent, resist percent. And finally you have your level buff gear, which is your whether you're a class A hero, demon level monster, you're a class S hero. This is where the slot goes. And this slot is very unique because it can roll something called augmentations. And augmentations are like rare effects or bonuses that they don't come that often, but it's stuff like internal injury deals 5 to 30% of its damage to surrounding units. It can also do more power. It can do other things like, for example, normal attack deals 60% extra damage when you're hitting a target. You are healed for 60% of the damage that block reduces. Or even things like when you are berserk, you receive an additional attack buff before your action. So typically these augmentations are very, very rare. They don't come that often, so don't look out for it. The goal right now is to reach floor 10 of the incoming Nightmare CC. So where buff gears drop from is from an event or new game mode called Nightmare Conqueror's Challenge, which is just like a harder version of the standard Conqueror's Challenge, and it has a chance to drop both normal gears as well as buff gears. Along with that are new upgrade materials meant for buff gears. So the unique thing about buff gears is that in addition to requiring upgrade resources to unlock their stats, they can also be rerolled. So rerolling means, for example, there are 5 potential stat slots on the buff gear. You can actually choose to roll the piece of gear, like remove or change some of the stats to other stats. And this is a very expensive process because every time you reroll, you spend materials. And in order to keep stats that you feel you want to keep, you need to spend gems to lock them. And that's insane. Imagine like you lock a stat and you don't get the type of stat you want. You're just going to be wasting gems forever. Some of the Chinese or CN streamers, they spend like 15,000 gems in one day trying to get the ideal piece of gear for the slot. So buff gears are definitely one of the most game-changing things to come along because they're going to give you a lot of stats, and it's probably going to kickstart the wave of Boros boss clears because we are going to get a huge amount of BP increase. Yeah, so my personal recommendation is slow down. Don't spend too much yet on these pieces of gear because you don't know what they're about. Generally speaking, once you get purple and orange gears, you have to start upgrading some of them to see what the stats are. Wait around and see who can write a better guide because this is just a preliminary introduction. I'll probably write a better buff gears guide in future, and we will see how we go from there. Yep. So hopefully this video was useful for you guys. I am mainly just doing this to end off like the series of educational videos I'm doing because I don't have much time in the next few weeks for content. I'll be doing videos still, but it will mostly be casual recordings of what I already play because educational videos take a long time to do. Like I have to prepare the drawings, my questionable drawings. I have to prepare sexy looking graphics or no one watches the videos. But hopefully this is something useful to you guys. I've been planning quite a long time for the Garou period because the Garou period is, to me, is the most fun period. Garou's animation is sexy as fuck. His skills are incredibly fun. And yeah, I've been saving this whole time for this period. Like all my characters that I've been gearing are all for this period. It's going to replace this Amai, I guess. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I don't have much time to read. I don't have much time to reply, but usually I check them once a day and see if there are any funny comments I can pin. So leave your questions behind and see if anyone wants to help. I'll reply any obvious questions, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you and have a great time playing One Punch. Bye bye.